scoop, pouring out the passion, yeah, the lead in the truth. Every episode party, grab your friends and cheer. In this podcast palace, we've got the atmosphere. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bobo and Kramer, yeah, the stand of the lost, taking on the world, and they're never gonna stop with that New York grit, rising to the top, get loud. Tune in, turn it up, feel electric sound. With every single word, you're never gonna frown. From the Midline Giants to the Madison Square, Bobo and Kramer, yeah, this man can get it out. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bobo and Kramer, yeah, the stand up the loud, taking on the world, and they're never gonna stop with that New York grit. Now rising to the top, get loud. Yeah, the best in the house is where the legends play. Bobo and Kramer leading the way. When your glass is high, shout it out loud. And the best in the house, we're rocking the town. And the best in the house, we're rocking the town. And the best in the house, we're rocking the town. And the best in the house, we're rocking the town.
And that's right, everybody. Welcome back once again to another edition of the Best Seat in the House podcast. As always, I'm your host, Rob Kramer, joined by my co-host, the great Daniel Bobo Curlin. And definitely a crazy day in sports history that we're going to be talking about. Dan, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm just still a little under the weather, so I'm kind of a little bit more speaking a bit lower than I usually am. But yeah, that was just a nice little win by the Knicks last night. Nice little way to celebrate. And it's also weird when I'm flipping through the TV and I'm hearing Round Ball Rock before an NBA game again. Talk about shades. Talk about shades of the 1990s. Just wish the Knicks could be as good as they were back in those days when that was the case.
Well, you know what? The Knicks pretty much have been up to that par the last year or two under Thibodeau. And, you know, we definitely hope that this first year under new head coach Mike Brown is going to go that way too. But Dan, yeah, you know, let's kick things off too with the basketball because aside from the Knicks, we do have some pretty big stories to get into on that. But let's talk Knicks first as they get their first win of the season in the season opener last night, just as you said, Dan. Knicks take the opener from the defending number one seed in the NBA from last year. The Cleveland Cavaliers won a league high 64 games last year, but they didn't get their first one last night at the Garden as the Knicks take it 119-111. Really nice gritty win for the Knicks too. They pretty much led for most of the game, but there was a point where not only did Cleveland, you know, really come back and tie the game, they actually took a small lead at 1.2. Obviously, you know, their top guys were knocking down the shots last night, and obviously by that I mean Donovan Mitchell, who is their undisputed top guy over there, who really seemed in the second half of the game infallible at times. The guy was really, really on the money, but the Knicks were able to dig deep and get it done, get the victory.
Yeah, it was nice to see the Knicks finally scoring enough in the fourth quarter, which I feel like that's done us in too many times. Is the Knicks burning out in the fourth, and I was relieved to see that. I was saying, please, not another fourth going into the fourth. Don't burn out in the fourth because it's freaking what's cost us the game, and maybe had my TV nearly destroyed. How does TV survive that last year? Have no idea, but it survived many things. It survived that. It survived the a third Mets collapse that I've had to go through. So it survived a bit, and it survived that Giants game last Sunday. All right, I got to add that to the list of what this TV has survived because it's gone through some of the biggest some big lows and some highs, but some lows that have been really gut wrenching. And somehow
That's
my
right, and we'll get into that Giants' big loss a little bit in the second half of the show. But yeah, that definitely speaks volumes about your TV surviving another tough loss like that. But the Knicks, Dan, definitely get the job done. As we said, new head coach Mike Brown gets his first victory with the New York Knicks. This guy, despite the fact that he doesn't have an NBA championship, he has been to a finals before. He's a two-time coach of the year. One of just a handful of coaches, only two others in league history that have gotten two NBA Coach of the Year awards, along with Popovich and Pat Riley. So in good company there. And definitely got to just, you just got to hope that this system that we see out of Mike Brown, which, by the way, did open up a couple of clear shots for Jalen Brunson in the corner for a wide open three a couple of times last night, which we saw very, very rarely last year in Tom Thibodeau's system. And obviously, too, the necessity of using more players on your bench. With Thibodeau, we became accustomed to seeing guys like Josh Hart go out there and play 40 minutes a night, and obviously the Knicks didn't have that last night because Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson were both out of the game. Josh Hart's dealing with a little bit of a quad. Mitchell Robinson's still a little banged up. So they didn't get to play in last night's game. Even Karl Anthony Towns coming into the game was questionable, but he did suit up, have 19 points and 11 boards last night. Looked pretty good. But, hey, this is what we hope that we're going to be getting out of the new system with Mike Brown. We're just hoping that it's a more balanced system and that it really allows, because a lot of people have kind of made the point that, the team ran out of gas a little bit in the last couple of years. At the end, these guys were playing so many minutes; they were so beat up that, as good of a coach as Thibodeau is, and as much as we like him, that the type of system he runs was taking a toll on these players. And while I don't necessarily fully agree with that, it's good to see that at least Mike Brown is going to try and keep these guys fresh, and maybe that makes a big difference down the stretch this year.
Yeah, and I feel like you need to have it. And this team looks like they are starting to have a deep bench that could get us through the fourth quarter, and that's always a key part of the game.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. Want to real quick give a little shout out to our buddy Disabled Officer. Always says, thank you for excellent sports talk podcast. Awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us, buddy.
Yeah. Big thanks to you, and thank you for watching us. Much appreciated.
That's right. And also a shout out to our buddy PhD, who's hanging out with us as always, watching the show. Bobo and Kramer. Oh yeah, he's taking a break from the X-Files to watch this. So thanks for hanging out with us, buddy. Talking some basketball.
Yeah. Thank you for watching as well, and everyone else watching out there wherever you may be.
That's right. And shout out to Lee Slater hanging out with us too.
Yeah. Thank you also for watching us. As we're over here and you're there.
Us here and you there.
Yep, a little nod to the great Steve Summers, who's by the way I saw that he's got a book coming out, and I'm hoping that he does a signing in New York so I could finally get to meet the guy. True.
I saw he was on WFAN today. Definitely check out anything for Steve Summers. Gotta love the schmooze. But yeah, so back to the Knicks though. Big win opening night. Mike Brown gets to check that box. Want to give a big shout out to OG Anunoby, who at times yesterday he didn't look amazing. There's a couple of threes he threw up that left a lot to be desired, but overall the guy went out, played a hell of an opening night game. 24 points, 14 rebounds, really earning that big paycheck he gets from the Knicks. So, hey, it's not always going to be pretty, right, Dan? As long as you get the win, that's all that matters.
Yep, exactly. That's all that matters is that you get the win in the end, and they got enough. And I've said before, going into that, the bench is going to be a key thing. If we have that deep bench we could go to in the fourth quarter, that deep bench that could keep us from burning out in the fourth quarter, we might be a really scary team, especially if this team is still held together going into the playoffs. If this team doesn't go isn't limping into the playoffs, if we got this could be a scary team, and dare I say it, we're gonna have to call in a camera person to maybe film saying at the Canyon of Heroes.
Well, there have been a lot of people. The Knicks have been a trendy pick right off the bat here. As out of the corner of my eye, I'm seeing Matt Rempe fight with former Ranger Ryan Reeves, who's now on the San Jose Sharks. That's an interesting battle going on as the Rangers currently trail 1-0. Early on here in the first quarter, in the first period. So definitely not a bad, a bad start for the Rangers, losing 1-0 already to one of the most garbage teams in hockey. But at least Matt Rempe's pounding his face in though right now.
Yeah, I gotta say one thing. As an old coworker once told me, he right on my hockey fights fucking rule.
Hey, you got that right. Can't argue with that. And so just a quick little update there on the Rangers, as that was a badass fight going out of the corner of my eye. But now Jalen Brunson, Dan, the captain. Oh, captain, my captain, Jalen Brunson, taking care of business. 23 points, 5 assists yesterday in his season debut. This guy is money, Dan. This is exactly what the Rangers need. This is exactly what the Knicks need. You just need a consistent effort from your top player, and that's what the Knicks get every time Jalen Brunson takes the floor.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what we need. He's stepped up. He's putting up Jalen Brunson numbers. That's all we need for Brunson, is to keep putting up those numbers we're all accustomed to, and that'll just really give us even more of a better chance of getting to the promised land.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. As I put up the agreement of the chat that hockey fights do indeed rule, no doubt about that, Dan. As all right, so with the Knicks now too, they're getting set for Game 2 of the season tomorrow night at the Garden. A little Friday night Knicks on MSG.
Actually, correction. I think isn't that one a broadcast that's like exclusively on Amazon?
Is it? I didn't even know. I didn't even look.
I was looking at the schedule. I know Amazon has some exclusive rights to some NBA games. I know that.
Oh, what a joke! Well, you know what that means, Dan? Yeah. I will be watching this game illegally.
Yep, exactly, and hopefully the Gavin Blake version of Batman doesn't show up. Like those videos I shared with you. Hopefully that version of Batman doesn't show up in your house and then make some sort of basketball pun before he beats the crap out of you.
That's true.
That's what I feel like that version of Batman would do.
That's true.
If he tried beating you up for pirating a Knicks game, he would probably make some basketball pun, then beat the crap out of you, doing pretty much the same combo moves the Batman in the Arkham Asylum games would be doing. Because I noticed those punches resembled heavily the video game Arkham Asylum, which I played heavily over the years. I played that. That's series.
Right, and I wonder if that's how the FBI used their forces early this morning or late last night to take down all these people that have been arrested in this giant gambling ring involving the mafia. Dan, have you? I'm sure you've seen a lot of the reports earlier today that came out. So I figured we got to dip our toe in this at least a little bit. Although I got to say, it's the least shocking news in the history of sports that the NBA is crooked. We've all said it for years. How many times have me and you come on here and bitched about the ridiculous number of free throws the opposing team has against the Knicks and how ridiculously biased and officiated it was? Well, everything that anybody has ever bitched about NBA officiating or questionable coaching decisions is turning out to be 100% valid, because we all heard about the Tim Donaghy stuff 20 years ago that the NBA swept under the rug, and they claimed that everybody was that was involved was punished. Well, former NBA star and current current coach Chauncey Billups, and current Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, and also former coach Damon Jones, along with 30 others, have all been arrested in a massive sports gambling ring, also involving the Sicilian mafia. So this is like getting to, movie level type shit with The Godfather that we're dealing with right now with this. As apparently, Don Corleone really liked the NBA because from what we're seeing is this is something that has, this isn't an isolated incident. They arrested one of the referees. I forget the guy's name, but they said that this guy was directly involved in rigging the outcome of games for the last 30 years. 30 years, Dan. This goes back, 30 years takes us back to the mid 90s. That's 10 years before Donahue even went down. So this is just insane, the level of corruption in the NBA.
Oh my God, this is just what the fuck? What the fuck? A double what the fuck at the Rangers are now down 2-0. But this is just, now I have more reason to not trust those Zebras.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's not just the Zebras either. Obviously, the Zebras are crooked, and we always knew that. But look, catch this. Chauncey Billups, as coach, went out, and they have a specific game where they had two of their star players that were having really good nights. Final 5 minutes of the game, Magic it down by 5. But Billups calls a timeout, pulls both of his top players that are having good nights, and they're trailing by 5. Neither of those guys came in for the rest of the game. For the rest of the game in which they lost, neither of them came in. It's almost like he was trying to cover in that game, for his team to lose. It's ridiculous, Dan. This is something, they even have one of the other guys that is involved in this faked an injury specifically to hurt the team. This is absolutely insane, the level of corruption in the NBA. And Adam Silver, the commissioner, one of the worst commissioners in sports, is complicit in all of it.
What a fucking joke. What a fucking joke. All these people, and even the commissioner, turning a blind eye to this. This is just nuts. How this happens, and I'm amazed how they found a way to allow this in 2025.
It's been going on for 30 years.
Yeah, I am surprised they just, all this time, this 30 years, this shit's been happening. Oh my God, there's just some messed up stuff going on.
Love that take, Bo. And yeah, you're right. It's a joke. The NBA is a joke. And I was talking about this with my brother-in-law earlier, where it's like everybody that bet on NBA games, really, I guess for the last 30 years, but however long you want to go back, all these games are suspect now. Everybody that put any money on any of these games should be reimbursed for their bet money. I know that's a ridiculous concept and it's never going to happen, but I mean, realistically, there should be a class action suit against the NBA for all the bettors that got screwed by the NBA.
Yeah, they need to do that. They need to reimburse people. And it just feels like that makes me wonder if makes me wonder if some of the rich people involved in this, involved in running the Squid Games, maybe rigged some things because they needed some people in debt to be desperate enough to want to put their lives on the line for that kind of thing.
Well, when you're dealing with the Sicilian mafia, it wouldn't surprise me, my friend. And so the so all that big news came down today. The FBI had a big what's it called, press conference on it earlier today. So really interesting to see how that went down. There's still more details and everything emerging, so it'll be interesting to see what the fallout from this is at the NBA level. But the NBA is getting killed for it right now, so it'd be really interesting to see what goes down. As for this, now tomorrow, let's just to wrap up with the Knicks and move on from basketball. Now tomorrow, it's the rematch for the Knicks and the Celtics. Knicks not the defending champions coming into last year's playoffs, no longer the defending champions, thanks to your New York Knicks. Knicks are hosting them tomorrow at the Garden, 7:30 p.m. in the playoff rematch right there. And it's a big game, Dan, too. And, for a little gamesmanship, Boston late last week at the end of training camp brought in Tom Thibodeau, Knicks' former head coach, who got fired at the end of last season. Some, including yours truly, believing unjustly. They bring him in to give them a few pointers to let them know how the Knicks beat them last year. So that's a really good job by the Boston coaching staff to, at least have the, the balls to do something like that,
Yeah, it's crazy, and I just feel this game's gonna be very intense. It's gonna go to the very last second. That's what it is. I feel like this is gonna be one of those games that's gonna go to the very last second, and the few of you that have access to an Amazon subscription are gonna be lucky enough to get to watch this game. Gonna get to watch a good one. It's gonna be you're gonna need medics on standby for this game.
You got that right. Big time matchup tomorrow night at the Garden. So we'll be keeping our eye on that.
And you gotta hope the Amazon doesn't go down, because remember that whole thing that happened? Because it seems everything runs on AWS these days.
Yeah, it's true. So fingers crossed that we can actually even see the game tomorrow. But hey, if worst case scenario, we always got the radio.
Yeah.
But all right.
Yep, exactly. Because that's the one thing that isn't run by AWS. Because it's just about every internet thing's run by AWS. I heard people had trouble accessing their tickets to Game 7 of the ALCS a couple of days ago because of that whole fiasco.
It doesn't surprise me. So all right, Dan, let's keep things rolling along here right now. And usually I like to put the hockey and basketball back to back, or two MSG teams. But you know what? The Rangers losing 2-0 to the fucking San Jose Sharks right now in disgraceful fashion. We'll save these bums for the end of the show. Let's talk about some football right now, Dan. As we'll start off with your Giants, and boy, they had a game for the ages for all the wrong reasons this past week. As this Sunday in Denver, the Giants were up 19-0 going into the fourth quarter, and that's where the wheels just fell off. An early touchdown in the fourth quarter there by Denver made it 19-8. The Giants actually made a spectacular play to their tight end to then go up 26-8. But after that, it was all downhill, as a touchdown for Denver made it 26-16. A interception from Jackson Dart allowed them to score another touchdown to make it 26-24. Then it was just crazy the way things spiraled. Next thing you know, it's 31-26 in favor of the Broncos. Then the Giants come back down, score another touchdown to take a 32-31 lead. And then the final play of the game was a game-winning field goal from Will Lutz in Denver to seal the deal and give the Broncos a 33-32 victory. One of the most insane games I've ever seen. Dan, before we even get into anything else, what was your takeaway from this crazy, crazy loss?
Well, a couple of things. Brian Daboll, utter stupidity I've never seen in this game. Not freaking just going for the extra point. Why go for that 2-point conversion? The other thing is not having a reliable kicker you could have faith in. There were a couple of moments that maybe they should have done that. Maybe a couple of moments should have went for the field goal. But what they did, and our GM making a mistake, why go into the season with a kicker that's pretty much looks like with damaged goods?
Yeah, we all knew the problems with Graham Gano last year. This is not a new problem. This is, something that the Giants got killed for last year with their roster decision, bad roster management, and not having a good, reliable kicker on there. They made sure to bring back Graham Gano. and they convinced everybody, oh, you don't got to worry about it. Graham Gano's back. Graham Gano's back. Well, he's already on the IR. It looks like he's set to come off this week, but you never know. We've heard that one before. So they bring in this other kicker who I don't even remember his name, some no-name stiff. He goes out there. This is the guy they had active. It's not like he was an emergency kicker that they just needed because Graham Gano got hurt, last second before the game. Graham Gano has been on IR. So the Giants had this hand-picked kicker to replace him. And the guy missed 2 extra points, one early on, one at the end of the game that essentially cost the Giants the game. But he did hit an extra point in this game. So early on, he was at least 1 for 2. And not only that, just like you said, Dan, the other bad decision was going for 2. The Giants are up 19. I was watching the game, and at this point, nowhere in my head did I think the Giants were going to blow this game. But at 19-0 at the end of the third quarter, when I saw the Giants lining up for a 2-point conversion, I was saying to myself, you're asking for trouble here. What are you doing? Why are you going for 2 here? Kick the extra point, go up 20-0, and you got nothing to worry about. You sit back, you kick your feet up, and you keep your fingers crossed the Giants don't make it close. Well, I mean, obviously that didn't end up happening, but geez, Dan, I mean, just why are you I hate when coaches chase points like that. There was no need for it. And look, it ended up biting him in the ass. That the combination of him going for 2 there and the 2 extra points cost the Giants this game, and there's no debate about it.
Yeah, that and then also that interception just really cost us. Like you could have just tried to run the clock out, not do too much, but you had to go. That interception just had to happen, and oh my God, I'm just shocked my TV survived that one because that was one of the most embarrassing defeats I had to see, and I had to watch to see with my own eyes.
And you're right too. That's a good point too. It's under 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You're up 26-16. Why in the blue hell are the Giants passing the ball at that point? You have Cam Skattebo, who's done a great job so far this year. He's one of the talks of the town. As a matter of fact, he got a standing ovation last night at Knicks opening night when they showed him on the big board. Everybody in the audience was clapping for Cam Skattebo. He's the toast of the town right now. And the Giants said to themselves, you know what? Even though we have a 10-point lead, even though there's 5 minutes left in the game and we could just milk the clock here and not even let them get the ball back, they decide to have Jackson Dart come out passing. You can't do that. He's a rookie. He's gonna make a mistake eventually, and it's like the Giants were just sitting there saying, just waiting for him to make that mistake.
Yeah, and they did, and they shouldn't have done that. They should have just ran out the clock at that point in the game, because that is the worst time for to set yourself up for a rookie quarterback like a Jackson Dart to make a rookie mistake. Worst time ever was that time, and it showed there, and it just cost us. And I don't know how my TV survived, because I was furious after that. Like I was just I was furious. I mean, I was under the weather too much to really yell at the TV, so, and I'm like still not really fully 100%. So it's like to yell, like I was like, but you could tell my own head the reaction. Like I was about to curse like every curse in a book.
Yeah,
that's one of the worst disasters in the season. I feel like I've gone from one disaster of a season to another, and it's like the way I'm seeing this, and then the start my Rangers got to do. Am I going to end up counting the days to the Mets home opener again?
Unfortunately, that's the way it looks right now. But you never know. The Rangers will probably figure it out eventually, and if not make the playoffs, they'll be in it. As we see, it's a 2-1 game now. So definitely keep our eye on that. But Dan, as for the Giants, though, that quarter, I guess based on your perspective, if you're a Giants fan, it's one of the worst quarters in the history of football. If you're a Broncos fan, it's one of the best quarters in the history of football. In a lot of ways, actually, it kind of reminded me of the Midnight Miracle, which the Jets had against the Miami Dolphins, actually on this date 25 years ago, when the Jets came back from a 30-7 deficit in the fourth quarter and ended up winning the game late in Miami. One of the most memorable wins that I have as a Jets fan for comeback wise. But yeah, I mean, 33 points in the fourth quarter is the most the Broncos have ever scored and the most the Giants have ever given up in one quarter. And that's basically all you need to know, right?
Yeah, that's all you need to know. It may have been the second worst Giants loss I've ever seen in my time as a Giants fan. I mean, I lived through that 2010 one. We talked about it a lot on our Patreon show. We talked about how to think the two parallels that happened 1 year apart. In 2010, I'm in the Meadowlands, and I saw the Giants blow that big lead, and I had to deal with a bunch of Eagles fans taunting us. That all us Giant fans were walking from there to the New Jersey Transit Station to get the train back to New York, back to the five boroughs. Here, having them doing that whole dumb "Fly Eagles Fly" song to us, really annoyingly. And then 1 year later, when I ended up bringing someone who was visiting from out of town to a game, the Giants Eagles in Philly, and after the Giants pulled off one of the most immaculate comebacks in that game, one of the most immaculate wins there that seat in the 2011 season that led to that championship season, blasting New York Groove as I'm making my way to the subway to get back to 30th Street, where I got the train back to New York. I'm blasting New York Groove in their territory.
That's right. That's right.
And 1 year later, and I literally, and I actually thought of that game in 2010. So I was like, revenge is a dish best served cold.
That's right. And that's what Eagles fans are going to be thinking this weekend, as the Eagles are going to be looking for some big revenge against the Giants, as the Giants are going to be reeling off this tough loss last week. The Eagles are going to be feeling much better about themselves coming off the loss 2 weeks ago from the Giants, as the Eagles rebounded with a big victory over the Vikings this past week. And unfortunately right now too, the play of one of the Giants' better pass rushers, Brian Burns, is going to be in question, as he's dealing with a hip injury right now. He hasn't practiced this week. He's tied for the NFL lead in sacks. And even in this tough loss against Denver this past week, he had 2 sacks. So he was one of the Giants' better defenders in this game. And, if the Giants don't have him, that's a big piece of their pass rush that's going to be missing.
Oh, great. Oh, great. I can tell you, I'm going to be really, really angry on Monday if the Giants don't win this. Please, you have no idea how badly this would be such a feel-good win, seeing the Giants sweep the series against the Eagles.
Well, if possible, that is correct. It's going to be happening this Sunday for the Giants. They're going to be in Philadelphia, 1 p.m. Giants 2-5, Eagles 5-2. So it'll be real interesting to see how that one goes. As we'll have to see exactly. I forgot to put the point spread on here. I'll take a look right now and see what the Giants spread is against the Eagles for this game right now. So Dan, the Giants beat the Eagles last time, right? So based off that, we know the Giants already have a win this year against the Eagles. If you would take a guess right now, what do you think the point spread is for this Sunday in Philadelphia?
I feel like this one's going to be like a 17-14 Giants win.
No, I'm asking you what you think the point spread is going to be. Like, what do you think that Vegas put the spread at?
I feel like even with that, maybe the Giants might be the underdog in this one.
So you're thinking what? How many points?
Maybe like a 7-point underdog. Yeah,
actually, you're pretty much on point. Oops, nope. The So for this week, the Eagles are actually a 7.5-point favorite at home against the Giants. So the defending Super Bowl champions getting a touchdown and a hook on that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I predicted was going to be the Vegas odds on that.
Yeah, so Giants get the the underdog luck on that one. So we'll see how that pans out. But Giants Eagles big game this Sunday in Philadelphia. As for the other team in New York, which by comparison, right now your New York Giants are looking like the 1927 Yankees compared to my Jets. As the Jets right now have another disaster of a game this week. They lose an ugly game to the Carolina Panthers, 13-6 at MetLife, fall to 0-7. Only two other coaches in the history of the New York Jets have ever tasted an 0-7 start to the season, and that would be Richie Kotite, who we all know had that really great 1-15 season all those years ago, and then Adam Gase, who started 0-7 and went 2-14 that year in 2020, winning 2 games late to screw the Jets out of the number 1 pick. So Jets fall to 0-7. And the thing about that, Dan, is obviously that game sucked enough to watch, and it sucked to see Justin Fields not be able to complete a pass, and it sucked to see the defense play pretty good again for the second straight game, but get nothing from the offense in return. It pissed me off to see the Jets not use Breece Hall correctly. It pissed me off to see Garrett Wilson injured and not available to play, and the only top receiver the Jets have aside from that is Josh Reynolds, and I point directly at Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji for that. Thanks for releasing Devontae Adams for jack shit geniuses. We appreciate it. But Dan, aside from everything I just mentioned, as if that couldn't be annoying enough for Jet fans, guess who opened their freaking stupid mouth this week again and put his foot directly in it? That's right, everybody. Say it with me. Jets owner, Woody Johnson. The guy that we all love, Mr. Dick over here, shows his confidence in Aaron Glenn at 0-7, and even says he goes out there and he hugs Aaron Glenn every day. He loves Aaron Glenn. I'm so happy that our clueless owner loves our clueless head coach. They could be happy in clueless heaven together. That's exactly what I love to hear, because clueless heaven is exactly where the New York Jets always reside. However, you've heard me on the show this year. Obviously, I was not thrilled with the release of Aaron Rodgers, and I was quite vocal about that. I did not have any confidence in the Jets' ability to make Justin Fields any better than he's been for the last couple of years. But I got to say, the first couple of weeks of the season, we saw some encouraging things out of Justin Fields. And mind you, too, as poor as his quarterback play has been at times, he still hasn't thrown an interception this year. Not that that really means anything when you see his whole thing of play, but it's just another good thing. Justin Fields has been bad overall this year, but he's not been the reason the Jets are 0-7. But according to Woody Johnson, the only bad thing about the Jets right now is quarterback Justin Fields. Woody Johnson goes out there and says that if it wasn't for our quarterback not being able to complete a pass, that's the worst thing about the Jets right now. Let me ask you, Woody, were you asleep the first 5 weeks of the season when the Jets went out there and the defense allowed 30.4 points a game? It's not Justin Fields' fault. Justin Fields, look, let's be honest. Justin Fields stinks. Justin Fields isn't a great quarterback. He has decent moments every once in a while, but overall, he's not a good quarterback. But to sit here and scapegoat Justin Fields for this season going the way it has is just an absolute dishonest joke from a clueless idiot in Woody Johnson. What did you think, Dan, when you heard this nonsense about this guy burying Justin Fields, who, by the way, if you want to bury Justin Fields, whatever. The guys that you hired, Woody, you asshole, Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji gave this guy $30 million. He's their guy. If you're burying him, you're burying them.
Yeah, I just saw something that, man, what an epic display of stupidity was seen there. When I was watching the Sports Night in SNY, so I saw little highlights of that interview, and I'm thinking from an outsider, like, what the display of stupidity right there. That is just, and it's really that much stupidity that, to the point, I feel like potential top draft picks, especially potentially top quarterbacks in the draft, are looking at tankathon.com really like cringing when they realize who's on the top of that list on tankathon.com when they see the Jets on top of that.
Yeah, well,
They must be cringing.
It doesn't matter. The Jets aren't going to draft the right person. And even if they do, they're going to fuck them up. Are you telling me what Jet fan could sit here? This is what really annoyed me about Woody Johnson, too, is that he also gave the vote of confidence to Aaron Glenn. Like, oh, no matter what happens this year, Aaron Glenn is still going to be the head coach of the Jets next year. So you're telling me if the Jets go out there and go 0-17 this year, and this motherfucker doesn't have a win all season, you're going to tell me that I'm supposed to sit here and be excited about Aaron Glenn, who chose Justin Fields over Aaron Rodgers? You expect me to believe that he is going to take the next quarterback that the Jets are going to draft and mold him into a winner? Are you fucking high? I really, sometimes, Woody Johnson, do us all a favor and sell the effing team. You are the worst owner in sports. The owner of the Buffalo Sabres shits on you. You are the worst owner in sports, possibly the worst owner in the history of sports, the most clueless owner I've ever seen. At least even the Wilpons, as bad as they were of owners, they never had a 15-year stretch of just complete garbage like this. The Jets haven't even sniffed the playoffs in 15 years. And this asshole is telling us that his 0-7 head coach is great.
Yeah, that is just, he is just utter stupidity, and it's just going to be that whoever it is going to be set up for disaster, and I don't know what it's going to take for you guys to sell the team. If it's going to take Woody Johnson to say something racist, because I used to make the joke when the Wilpons on the Mets, I says, man, can it be nice for the Wilpons to say something racist to catch, something that would get them in trouble. Please, something that'll get them in trouble. That's what I feel like you're going through right now, hoping for the Mr. guy who runs a company, line of products under the name Johnson and Johnson, and a name like Woody Johnson owning a team. It's a joke.
I am disgusted by the Jets owner. I'm disgusted by everything that has to do with this organization. It's a joke. It's a complete joke. The guy that, I don't know if everybody knows this story, but in the 1990s, there was this guy that defrauded the NHL and claimed he was this billionaire that had all this money, and he entered into an agreement to buy the New York Islanders when he didn't have any of the money at all that he claimed he had. That guy, who ended up being thrown out of the league because he was a fraud, is a better owner than Woody Johnson. That's how dog shit Woody Johnson is. You are a joke. Sell the team. I cannot stand this guy. I gave Woody Johnson the benefit of the doubt so many times. 10 years ago, when people were talking about what a shitty owner he was, I said, well, he's not the best, but he spends money. He tries to do the right thing, even if it's not always right. 10 years later, I am sick of this fucking guy. I actually stupidly thought that when he came back from England, he would start to put this team back on the right track again and take over once again from his brother, Christopher Johnson. But I couldn't have been more wrong. The team is worse ever since this clown got back.
Yeah, it's a disaster, and that's all you could hope for is this guy to sell the team, because it's become a disaster. And by the way, I know exactly the guy you're talking about. I've actually watched that ESPN 30 for 30 is such an interesting documentary just the fact that there's actually someone, a sports owner, that actually tried to fraud his way into ownership of a professional team in one of the big four. That
Yeah, well, you know what?
the fact that happened.
He makes Woody Johnson look, Woody Johnson makes that guy look like George Steinbrenner. That is how bad Woody Johnson is. And I just can't take it. I really just can't take it. This guy and his awful managing. Once again, hire a coach with experience, you idiot. You know what? With that, let's start to move on a little bit because my blood pressure is going up just talking about these idiots. Want to also thank our genius head coach because he still has not decided who's going to be starting for the Jets this Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals and Justin Fields or Tyrod Taylor. It's nice to know that we've got two less than mediocre quarterbacks to choose from when we had a Hall of Famer that we released for nothing earlier this year. Appreciate that. Tyrod Taylor, though, also is dealing with a little bit of a hip injury. They're splitting reps with Justin Fields. I expect it to be Taylor to get the start, but I don't know, Dan. You never know what these assholes are going to do. So, you know, they could start Tyrod Taylor in a wheelchair for all I know.
You know, it's one of those that's going to be. It's going to turn out to be a disaster. It's going to be a disaster either way. And you know it's going to hit, and you know this game's going to hit new lows for you guys without a doubt.
Oh yeah, Dan, and you are so right now by just saying that, and you probably don't even know the full reason why you are 100% correct on that. But before we get to that reason real quick, I do want to point out that this week is going to be very tough because the Jets look like they're not going to be playing with their top wide receiver for the second straight week and Garrett Wilson dealing with a knee injury, and tight end Mason Taylor, who looks like a pretty decent draft pick that they got in the second round, is dealing with a quad. So he's not officially out for this game, but he's not practicing, so it's not a good sign. But yeah, just to get back to this game, Dan, you are 100% correct because right now the Jets are going to be taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in this game right now. And you know what that means, Dan? That means that the Jets aren't going to be playing Joe Burrow in this game because Joe Burrow's hurt. The Jets aren't going to be playing Jake Browning in this game because Jake Browning, the backup quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, got benched. He got benched because they traded for a guy. They traded for a former Super Bowl champion who also used to be a Jet. No, not Aaron Rodgers. Joe Flacco. Dan, get ready. Get ready this coming Sunday for the Joe Flacco revenge game. Because I'm telling you this much, you know it. You just know he is going to shove it up the Jets' ass sideways.
Yeah, that I just have a feeling this game's just gonna be a disaster for you guys, and probably Flacco's probably gonna have the best game of his season.
Wouldn't surprise me. And he had a hell of a game last week too. If you don't remember, he played the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers on Thursday Night Football last week, and he threw 4 touchdowns in a victory over Rodgers, where they came down and had a great game. It was a shootout, a 33-31 game in which the Steelers lost. You can't blame that one on Rodgers, all the Rodgers haters. But hey, it's this is setting up for Joe Flacco to just stick it to the Jets, and you just know it's going to happen. There's no way it's not.
Yeah, it's bound to happen, and at this point, you've been immune to it. Everything you've got, because you've been through so much lows this season that it's pretty much the season's going to be the lowest of lows for that the Jets have never been through.
Oh, that's where you're wrong, my friend. That's where you're wrong, because the Jets have been here before, and I've seen both with both of these stupid eyes that love watching the Jets put on a steel-toe boot and kick all of us Jet fans as hard as they can in the groin, just like Hans Moleman in The Simpsons getting hit in the groin by the football. That's the Jet fans getting kicked in the groin by our team over and over and over again. That's the Jets, Dan. I saw in 1996 when the Jets went 1-15. I remember it. I saw it with my own eyes in 2020. The Jets going 2-14 under Adam Gase and winning 2 meaningless games at the end of the season just to cost themselves the number 1 draft pick. I don't know if anything the Jets do this year could be worse than that.
Well, yep. Well, I don't know if it can be worse than that, but it easily could be, and you're gonna probably need, well, whatever amount of whiskey you're gonna have with you watching this game might not be enough.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that, my friend. And so buckle up, Jets fans, because the Joe Flacco revenge game is coming into focus. No doubt about that. As the Jets, as we see here, taking on the Bengals. Jets are 6.5-point underdogs in Cincinnati. So we'll see. That we'll give our picks on the Giants and Jets game at the end of the show. Me and Bo both had a pretty good week when it comes to our NFL picks last week. We'll get it. We'll talk about it a little bit more at the end. But I went 2-1 and Bo went 3-0. So a really good week 7 for us. But real quick, Dan, let's wrap up here with the Rangers before we close it out and do our picks. As the Rangers, this has been a weird year for the Rangers so far. They did have a really great comeback in the third to beat the Canadiens 4-3 in Montreal on Saturday. They were down 2-1 in that third period. They went out and scored 3 early goals, take a 4-2 lead. They allowed one, late in the third to make it a little close, but held on. Rangers got a really good feel-good victory of 4-3. But man, I don't know what the hell has snake bit the New York Rangers this year at Madison Square Garden, but this is an abomination what this team is doing at the Garden this year. They come back home on Monday feeling pretty good about themselves. They lose 3-1 in a disgusting effort to the Wild. The Rangers should be ashamed that they had an outing like that. Once again, the thing that really pissed everybody off is that they went out and in the first minute of the game, because the whole thing was, if the Rangers went the first 7 minutes and 19 seconds into that game without scoring a goal, they would open the season at home with the longest goal drought in the history of hockey, breaking the 1928 Pittsburgh Pirates. That's right. I didn't misspeak. It was that long ago that the Pittsburgh NHL team was the Pittsburgh Pirates back then. They opened the season with the longest goalless streak at home of all time. And if the Rangers had gone 7 minutes and 19 seconds into this game without scoring, they would have broken it. Well, they didn't break it because Artemi Panarin went out and scored in the first 57 seconds of regulation in this game. The only problem is that in the 59 minutes that followed in regulation there, the Rangers didn't score again. And they went out and 2-1. It's 2-1. Shesterkin's playing another great game, but it doesn't matter because they lose 2-1. They pull Igor at the end. An empty netter goes in. Basically, the second he came out of the net, Rangers lose 3-1. Absolutely disgusting what this team has done so far this year, Dan, especially at home.
Yeah, it is just a disaster. And I noticed one of the big disasters is the offense not recognizing enough openings there are. So many times they keep missing in those openings. I feel they need to finally be able to take advantage of those openings. It could be a big turnaround. They need to get this turnaround right away and maybe get some consecutive winning streaks going for once. That they could do that because I feel like it's a little bit that's there, but it's just still not enough, and they need to somehow find a way to get through that before it becomes a big hole to dig themselves out of.
Oh yeah, and right now it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This hole that they're digging themselves into right now is, you're already 0-4 at home, and now they're down to the Sharks tonight 3-1 after the first period. If you start off the season 0-5 at the Garden, Rangers fans are going to be rioting. They are going to be furious if they. I mean, people are already pissed off. They're 0-4. You start off 0-5. What a disgrace, especially against the teams they're playing. The Minnesota Wild aren't that good. The San Jose Sharks are literally the worst team in the league. Listen to this, Dan. Listen to this right now. This is what the Sharks have done so far coming into this season. They're the only team in the NHL without a win. They're the last in NHL goals a game. They're the last in the NHL in shots against the game. They're next to last in goal differential, -13 for the season. They're next to last in save percentage. Their goalie save percentage this year, Dan, is .863. .863. The Rangers is damn near 92%. That's the difference in the level of competition. And then even that, they're next to last in 5-on-5 goals. The Rangers allowed 3 of them in the first period. Absolute disgrace.
This is a disaster. I'm telling you, it's going to be really annoying me if the Rangers don't win this game. Please win this game. I don't need this. Don't put me through this, guys. Another thing I feel like this team's also a bit missing. I feel like they've lost a bit of edge since they let go of Chris Kreider.
Yeah, well, Kreider was definitely their their go-to guy, no doubt about it. Kreider is a guy that has set the personality of this team for years, and he's off to a really good start in Anaheim. So yeah, I agree with you. It's just another thing. The last thing we all wanted was Kreider to be traded, and they stuck with Kreider, and Mika's off to an okay start, but it's also weird because they had Mika originally on the right wing to start the year, but due to the injury to Vincent Trocheck, they've been forced to shift Mika back to center, and that's had up and down results so far. So the Rangers better wake the fuck up right now, because it's the start of the second period right now, and if this second period doesn't go better, the Rangers better bring out the ponchos, because everybody's going to be throwing their food under the ice of the Garden.
Yes, I'm just really hoping it's to turn into a disaster, because I really don't need this. It's just it already annoyed me everything what I went through last year. Right? I don't want to be clean shaven in April.
Yeah, well, I hear you. Yeah, Dan, I mean, it's something that way to deal with last year. The Rangers don't miss the playoffs very often. They had that couple of year stretch during the rebuild from 2018 till 2020 when things weren't going so great. But ever since then, the Rangers have made the playoffs basically every year, 21-22, 22-23, 23-24. And those 3 years, they got to the Eastern Conference Final. So this team obviously has talent. It's, something they're just going to have to figure something out right now. And, the thing that worries me is that this team has been one of the best offensive teams the last couple of years. Obviously, last year was a little bit weird too, but this team has been one of the better offensive teams in hockey. And under Mike Sullivan so far, we're not seeing any of that. This team really has to figure out their offensive identity, because this can't be like one of those Tortorella teams from 12 to 15 years ago where it's the black and blue shirts and they score a goal and a half a game. That can't be with the talent level on this team. That cannot be the case.
Yeah, exactly. This cannot be the case. They need to score more often, score often, and they got to bounce back for this, because I feel like they can bounce back from this small early hole. I've seen it. They can get going. It could turn into something special, and I'm hoping that's the case. That this is just one of those seasons where they can let this early disaster all of a sudden just be something you easily forget because of how the seasons turned out in the end result.
Yeah, I mean, you got to hope. You really have to hope that that's exactly what's going to happen. Things have to fall into place. We remember, Alain Vigneault's first year, where the Rangers actually ended up going to the Stanley Cup final. It took about until January when things really started to click on that team. They got rid of Michael Del Zotto. They brought in Kevin Klein, and things really started to click. So who knows? Maybe it's a move the Rangers have to make this roster really fit more of Mike Sullivan's system, or something along those lines. I know it absolutely kills me to see Connor Sheary on this team when guys like Gabe Perreault and what's his name and Brett Berard are wasting away in the minor leagues. But other than that, they really just need to start scoring goals, especially at home. On the road, doesn't really, they had that one game that got held to 1, but they had the other games where they scored 6, they scored 4, they scored, a couple the other night. So it's time to start scoring some fucking goals at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, exactly. Better start scoring some goals. And get going already. I'm already sick of it.
That's right. So, all right, yeah, that's gonna that's with the Rangers and the Sharks tonight. Second period just underway, and the Sharks actually are halfway through a power play, up 3-1. The most infuriating thing too is that we are now just about 3 minutes into the second period, and the Rangers have 5 shots on goal. Exactly 5. Just a disgrace. Just an absolute disgrace.
Yes, unacceptable, and I've seen this before.
Unfortunately, we all have. You're right about that.
Yeah. I'm not quite really fully well up to enough to do the full skips, to try to do the impression of skips, but you get what I'm talking about.
Yes, we do. So, all right, that's going to be for the Rangers. We got a couple other things to get into before we call it a night here on the show. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us here tonight. So yeah, the Rangers ended up getting that. Okay, and real quick before we do our picks, Dan, we got World Series Game 1 tomorrow night. We got the LA Dodgers at the Toronto Blue Jays. Big matchup, 8 p.m. The first World Series game to take place in Canada since 1993. It's been a long, long time for these Canadian fans, and they are pumped. It was a really, really clutch Game 7 victory for them. When they ended up upsetting, or not really upsetting because it was in Toronto, but they came back against the Seattle Mariners. They're down 3-1. A big George Springer 3-run home run put them ahead 4-3. They didn't look back again. So now we got the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. Danny, you looking forward to this series? And who do you got in the end winning this all?
Yeah, I don't know if I can really say looking forward to it's the word. And since sometimes as a lot of times when the Mets aren't in the World Series, I forget that the World Series is even happening. But almost to a point, though I do remember it is happening. But I feel like this one, Toronto's going to win this one in 6 games. I just feel like they're going to they just have this energy, and they just have this thing that they just feel like fiery enough to just not be intimidated by this tough opponent in the Los Angeles Dodgers. So it's going to be crazy. Also, speaking of this World Series, and this makes me wonder how many of these Blue Jay fans are I know there are plenty that are actual diehard fans that know baseball and could actually recognize the logos of the 30 MLB teams. There is this video that makes me wonder how many of them are just front runners because.
Oh, they're all hockey fans. You know that.
Yeah. Though I kind of feel like there's going to be more diehard Jays fans than there are Dodgers fans, because I feel like the Dodgers have been the most fake-ass fan base since the team left Brooklyn in 1957.
Yeah, but they've also got such a long history there now, and they've been good for a decade. So there's always going to be plenty of Dodgers fans, diehard or not. But yeah, it's Dodgers and Blue Jays. So you're taking Blue Jays in 6. To be honest, Dan, I don't think it's even going that far. I'm taking Dodgers in 5.
Yeah, yes, fair enough. I feel like you could have an argument for both because these teams are just a lot better than people expect. But yeah, this video, I was seeing this video, and I was surprised how many of these Blue Jay fans How are you going to this game, watching this team, spending a shit ton of money on these tickets, the playoff games, and some of these fans could not recognize a single logo of an MLB team?
Doesn't surprise me.
I was like laughing, and believe me, I actually know. I know some Canadians who actually are Blue Jay fans and know enough about baseball. I mean, they're also hockey fans, but they know baseball and they could recognize the logo of the MLB teams. But some of these fans were like, some of these fans were like wondering, like, I was just laughing at this video that surprisingly that these people are spending a shit ton of money on this. It didn't recognize a logo, but a single one of them. Guess a single one of them, right?
That's right. As the Rangers just cut the lead to 3-2 at the Garden right now, so we'll keep our eye on that. But also, too, talking about real Blue Jays fans, I want to give a shout out to our buddy Cardiff Electric, who is a big Toronto Blue Jays fan, and if the series goes to Game 7, he'll be attending that game. So, shout out to Cardiff, and it'd be nice to see if they can get a win for him.
Yeah, yep. I ran into him once at he was at Citi Field once when the Jays were in Queens. So I ran into him once. It's good. It's a good guy. I could tell this guy was a fan. Like I could tell he's actually a fan. That's one of the keys I could tell if someone's an actual fan. If they showed up on the road, showed up to see their team on the road. That's one of the signs I know.
Was it a Mets Blue Jays game you saw him at?
Yeah.
Really? Wow, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just there's no pictures because let's face it, no one knows what he looks like.
Exactly, and we're gonna keep it that way, Stuttering John.
Yeah, exactly. I was respecting the craft, even though I saw no one's face. I was respecting the craft of what. I was respecting what he's doing, so I didn't say didn't make anything. Though I did say hi to him before I went back to where I was where my seat was at Citi Field that day.
Wait, but so you're telling me that in real life he wasn't just a floating potato?
No, but I do want to respect the craft of what some. That's why I'm not describing anything of his face or anything, but. Exactly. But I'm respecting the craft. But I figured he'd heads up because I feel he. But I did say hi to him in his. I did say hi to him in his seat. I did say hi to him in his seat for a little bit, before I headed back to where I was sitting that day.
All right, and shout out to Cardiff and his Blue Jays. So that'll be cool. Dodgers and Blue Jays kicking off tomorrow night, 8 p.m. in Toronto. Dan, so that's going to do it for us now. Before we close things out, we are going to do our picks. Me and you had a pretty good week last week with our picks when it comes down to it, as I went 2-1. Dan went a perfect 3-0. Dan covered with the Giants, the Panthers, and the 49ers. I covered with the Giants and Panthers, but not with the Niners. I ended up taking the Atlanta Falcons. And by the way, the Rangers have just tied the game. So we'll keep our eye on that right now.
I guess it's a little delay on my end, but I'm seeing it.
And they have suddenly come alive in the Garden. So shout out there, and definitely nice to see there for the Rangers as they've tied it up. Let's hope they can fix that. But Dan, with that, let's get into our picks for this week in the NFL. Me and Dan for the season. Let me pull this up right here. I'm 12-8. Bo is 10-10. So, by my count right now, if me and you lived in Las Vegas, we could have an early morning Sunday radio show giving out our picks, and we'd have some pretty big numbers on there. All right, let's mute that. And all right, so we are going to start this up, Dan, right now, and here we go. All right, so we're going to do our picks now, and for the let's see, we're going to start this off with your New York Giants, Dan, and your New York Giants taking on the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. We talked about it earlier. Giants are underdogs by a touchdown and a hook in this one. 7.5-point underdogs. Dan, what do you got in this game?
All right. Well, first of all, saying sorry about that. You had to see that I have to grab the charging cable from my to charge the device I'm using to do this show on. But
It's okay.
with that, I feel like this one, the Giants is going to be a 17-14 Giants win.
Okay, so you're taking the Giants to cover then, because that's how we're doing it. So you're
Yep.
taking it to cover. So you're taking the Giants plus 7.5 to cover. I'm going to go head-to-head with you on that one, Dan, as I think the Giants are going to be reeling a little bit from that loss. I think the Eagles kind of got their feet back on the ground. I don't think the Eagles are going to take the Giants lightly again like they might have done 2 weeks ago. So I am taking the Eagles minus 7.5 to cover in Philly against the Giants. So Dan's got the Giants. I got the Eagles head-to-head in week 1. Now let's take a look at the Jets, Dan. We talked about it earlier. Jets 0-7 at Cincinnati. The Bengals are 6.5-point favorites at home. Dan, who do you got in this one?
I just have a feeling this is going to be a 27-3 the Bengals win. This just looks like it's going to be another disaster for your Jets.
Yeah, I can't really argue with you saying that. I definitely get it, especially with the way that Woody came out and threw a grenade into the quarterback room this week. So I get what you're saying. 6.5-point dogs, you're going with them on that. You know what, though? This is probably a stupid thing, and I still fully expect the Jets to come out of this game 0-8. But I don't know why. If the Jets have been losing a lot of close games this year, this feels like another one of those times where the Jets are going to, even if they fall behind early, they'll find a way to climb back in the game but still lose. I think the Jets are going to cover. I'm taking the Jets plus 6.5. So Bo has the Bengals minus 6.5. I got the Jets plus 6.5. So the first 2 games this week, Jets and Giants, we're going head-to-head on right there. And finally, Dan, we are going to pick the Thursday night game tonight, which has the Minnesota Vikings on the road taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, our boy Gino Bisconte's team. And the 4-3 Chargers are currently the favorites at minus 3.5 points. Dan, who do you got on that?
I just have a feeling that the Chargers are going to win this one like 37-27.
Okay, so you got them winning by 10. You have them easily covering, so you're having the Chargers minus 3.5. And you know what, then? We're going to go head-to-head on all 3 this week because I do kind of expect the Vikings to have a little bit of a better effort. I'm going to say Vikings plus 3.5 in this one. So head-to-head in all 3 games, Dan's got the Giants, the Bengals, and the Chargers. I have the Vikings, the Jets covering, and the Eagles. So that's going to do it for us on our picks this week. As we said, I'm 12-8. Bo is 10-10. So, Bo, if you go 3-0 this week and I at least go 2-1, you can really be coming in to first place next time we talk about this.
Yeah, that would be crazy. And a word of advice again when people making your sports bets, it's on you. Don't go to us if it doesn't turn out how you do, because we're not a magic ball or crystal ball or anything. So if you end up betting a shit ton of money and you're in debt, don't blame us. And because that's all I could say.
That's right. So take a word of advice from Bobo here, and definitely, although we have been giving some pretty decent advice so far this year. And Dan, with that, that's going to do it for us here this week on this edition of Best Seat in the House podcast. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us here. As always, we'll be back with you on Sunday for our Patreon show, patreon.com/Best Seat in the House podcast. But before we do that, Dan, anything I'd like to plug before you get out of here?
Sure. My Twitter, Bobo103NYC, Instagram, Bobo718DK, use the same username on Treads. Also YouTube, you know where to see me, but with one word, Daniel Curlin on YouTube for all your Boba content, which all you Patreon subscribers get 1 week early access to my YouTube videos. And don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon, which is like only $5, cost of a round trip on the subway. Great deal to support the show, and you get access to stuff like our Patreon exclusive shows on Sunday, which we use to cover, do a whole football show. So that definitely worth that. And you even get access to Tracks I Admitted, which I'll probably film a little bit after this, because the last couple of days they've been a little under the weather. I'm a little bit better, but still not quite fully to the very high energy capacity right now. But I'll still give you a little Tracks I Admitted, because I'm feeling a bit better than I did a couple of days ago. So I'll give so you got the track, you'll get Tracks I Admitted. So definitely don't remember that. And that's all the plugs.
That's right. So make sure to keep an eye out for Tracks I Admitted. If you're a Patreon subscriber, we appreciate everybody that already is. Patreon.com/Best Seat in the House podcast. So that's going to do it for us here this week. We'll be back on Sunday, like I said, probably around 5:30, because the Jets and the Giants are both playing at 1. So be on the lookout for that as well. And for everybody else, we'll be right back here next Thursday night at 7 p.m. right here on YouTube. So for my co-host, the great Daniel Bobo Curlin, I'm Rob Kramer. This is the Best Seat in the House podcast, everybody. And let's go Rangers. Beat the freaking Sharks tonight. Let's go.
Yep.